What's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday. Welcome to another edition of Dangle Bet Sally, powered by FTN Bets right here in Game Plus Network, as well as our FTN Network YouTube page. This show also presented by Points Bet Canada, and that's where you will see the NHL betting lines tonight on the slate. 11 games, a lot to get to here. Potential return to the ice for Jack Eichel. Looks like the perfection line potentially back together tonight in Los Angeles as the Bruins begin a road trip. But first, as we bring in the Eric Young, myself at Chris Meaney. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us here today. Lots to get to, some NHL picks and props. We're going to roll through these games. I believe we're going to get through them all here on Game Plus Network. I got a really good feeling about it, DY. But I want to start with last night's game in Halifax. Team Canada, a 6-2 victory over the United States. And Team USA came out strong, man, 2-0. I actually thought that, for the most part, they were the better team. Like, their transition game was phenomenal. They're quicker. I think a little bit more skill up and down the ice. It felt like when the pucks were along the boards, Canada won those battles. Like, they were certainly tougher and stronger and a little bit bigger, and they pushed the States around, especially their defensemen. But man, the goaltending last night from Team Canada was phenomenal. Milic was absolutely on fire the entire game. But man, it was a highly entertaining game, but a little bit of controversy, I think. Maybe. We don't think so, but I know a lot of people seem to think so from last night.
Yeah, I mean, fun games. Like, look, I live in the United States. This is my chosen country. I am not an American citizen as of now, but I will be within the next calendar year, I would imagine. I was born and raised in Canada, a country that I love, but the first call is goalie interference. I don't give a shit how many years you played hockey or what you did. In the slow motion replay, his foot is in the blue paint. Milic tries to push across to cover the far post where that guy's wrapping the puck around his body and trying to put it, and he can't. To me, that's black and white. The call of goalie interference is you're interfering with the goalie's ability to do his job, and that's what he's doing. Do I think it was on purpose? No. You know, it's a scrum in front of the net, and the puck is loose and bouncing all over the place, and he's planting his right foot in the crease to try to spin and get the puck on net. And in that motion, he stops the goalie from being able to slide across and try to make a save. Would he have saved it? I don't know. That's not the point. The point is he's impeding the goalie's ability to play goalie. That's goalie interference. And in the second one, anywhere in the world, that's not a goal.
It's pretty obvious.
It's under his pad, and the guy pitchforks him and pushes the puck into the net. That's not a goal. Neither of them are a goal. And even if they are, the result is the same. So stop your belly aching. God, I hope I'm never subjected to watch a World Junior game on the NHL Network again. It was painful. I wanted to fist fight the color commentary guy last night. He just I get it, man. You're American and you want them to win. And he just kept bringing it up over and over and over. It was making me insane.
I flipped over there for a second because I felt like they would really be complaining about that because I wanted to hear their take as well. And yeah, it was really tough to watch. I mean, Gord Miller and Mike Johnson are phenomenal in the TSN broadcast. I think Mike Johnson is worthy of, being an assistant GM in the NHL. I feel like he just gets it. He's phenomenal the way he breaks down hockey. But yeah, it was pretty clear to me. I mean, if there's one questionable of the two, it was the first one, but I thought you laid it out perfectly. And if you were watching the TSN broadcast, I mean, Jeff O'Neill, who is a former Maple Leaf and also won a World Junior in 1995 with Team Canada, he right away said he thought it was one of the worst calls ever. And then Bob McKenzie broke it down. This is not the NHL, right? This is a little bit different. The rules are not as loose. They're a little bit more stricter. And again, it was Blake who was there. It was son of Jason Blake, who they showed on the broadcast. Another former Maple Leaf with a crazy visor that he used to have. But he was in the crease, pushed in a little bit, in the blue. Then the puck came out of the blue, and this is what Bob McKenzie was saying. The puck actually came out of the blue, and he is still in the blue, and he positioned himself to score the goal, and when he did, he makes contact with the goalie. He basically pushes the goalie with his side, flips it around, and puts the puck in the net. It's tough, a little bit of controversy. Even if those two count, they still lose by 2. It did feel like it changed a little bit of the momentum because, maybe it's 3-3 or maybe they get the goal early. But the second one, I mean, was ludicrous. You can't just take the goalie's pad and drive it into the net. I have no idea what they were complaining about on that situation, but it did take away a little bit from the atmosphere in the game. I thought it was phenomenal. And tonight we see the gold medal game between Czechia, who beat Team Canada in the first game, and then the bronze game between Sweden and Team USA. But man, a lot of really talented hockey players last night, and a shout out to Joshua Waugh, who was really, really good. And of course, Connor Bedard,
best player on the ice
a couple times. Yeah, he really was a Habs prospect, a 5th round pick that kind of just came out of nowhere last year. But he does play a different type of style, and we saw that last night. He just seemed to be in the right place at the right time all over the place. But there were a lot of people last night on social media, people that I respect in this business, that were baffled that goal was called last night, a non-goal. And I just could not believe it. I just like, what do you mean? And I wonder if it does have anything to do with maybe, being American and a Canadian. Sometimes you got to put that aside and just actually look at the facts of things. But we're not here to discuss that too much more. We're going to get into tonight's 11-game slate. We want to say hello to everybody. Troy Nowak in the house. How are the Avs? -150, he is saying here, Colorado. And they were big favorites the other night as well against the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, at the time, the Golden Knights were a little bit depleted, but they still found a way to win that game. And I agree with you on Gustav Nyquist, your boy for the Blue Jackets. He's been pretty good lately. You could get over 1.5 shots on goal at -130, Troy, not -154. Use our prop shop to get the best possible odds. I'm seeing Bet Rivers offer -130 Unibet over there as well. Diehard MMA podcast in the house. Morning, boys. The Stars let you down last night. Let you down. Yeah, I wasn't on the Stars, but I was on Rupe Hintz. We did get the shots on goal, and we didn't get the over 1.5 points. It's a little bit of a long shot that we had, but the Stars in the second half of back-to-back against the worst team in the league did not show up last night. It was an Anaheim win. I feel like we're rolling. We're starting to get, our footing here over at FTNBets.com. We're up to 22 units in our bet tracker. If you're looking to be part of the fam, you can sign up for free, a free 3-day trial. My goodness, I'll say that 10 times fast. I don't know. I could say 3-day trial. I could say free 3-day trial. Basically, what you need to know is it's free. FREE, FTNBets.com/FREE. Sign up. See our projections, see our tools. Jump in our Discord channel. We got several Discord channels. We got them split up into sports, and you can hang out with us for a couple days and see what we have to offer. All picks across all sports from everybody over at FTN. We got golf happening this week. We have NFL playoffs. We have NBA, NHL. March Madness will be here before you know it. It's all happening, and the college basketball picks have been absolutely hot fire. Also, FTNDaily.com/free if you're looking for a little bit of DFS in your life. Maybe you're out of your fantasy football championship. I guess it is over for most people. You're not playing week 18, but you can hop on over there, take a look at our projections, our tools, our optimizer, and maybe play a little bit of DFS as well. And if you want to re-up, you can use promo code Meaney, save yourself a little bit of cash. So let's get after it, Eric. Lots of action here tonight in the NHL. Let's start with your Preds on the road in Carolina to take on the Hurricanes. Carolina checking it at -220. The best odds I'm seeing, courtesy of Bet Rivers. Again, our prop shop, parlay calculator. Those tools are your friend, and they're free over at FTN Bets, and we have links inside the description of this video. If you're watching on Game Plus Network, you can hop on over and check out those links. The Preds checking in at +198, and we have a goal total here of 6. Nashville had their way with the Habs. You said you were cut off on that broadcast the other night with Andrew, the game over. I mean, Nashville looked pretty good, but it's hard to, everyone's looking pretty good against the Canadians these days. But Roman Josi had like 12 shot attempts in that game. He's a freak, man. And this is another guy. Carolina doesn't give up a lot of shots, but he just creates so much.
Yeah, he's all over the ice. Chris Mason, a buddy of mine, the color commentator for the Preds broadcast, called him the Nightcrawler, and he just nice. Which is a great. I mean, he's just such a smart player. He'll be, carry the puck down deep. He's in the corner, and then the team's going the other way in a 2-on-1, and it's somehow him defending on the 2-on-1. It's crazy. He's just all over the place. Obviously, everything flows through him. He's such a good player. Nashville has always had great defensemen, and Josi is I believe a future Hall of Famer. Barring injury, he keeps playing like this and putting up numbers like this. a lot of people think, you got to win a Stanley Cup. And I think that's been proven to not be true if your statistics are strong enough. I would love to see him win a Stanley Cup, but I mean, the jury's out on that. But yeah, I mean, look, you said that the Predators look good against Montreal, and everyone's looked good against Montreal. But it was a game where they were good for pretty much the entire game. And I don't know if I've seen that yet this year. I've said this a bunch of times on this show, is they're just super inconsistent. They'll do stretches, 5-8 minutes of perfect play where everyone's skating, everyone's moving their feet, they're forechecking, they're pressuring the puck all over the ice. And that's how they have to be. That's how they have to play if they want to be effective. And then they'll let up, and they'll slow up, and people aren't pursuing the puck, and they're not pressuring the person with the puck. They don't have enough skill on the Predators to lay back. They need to be pressuring the puck all over the ice. When they're doing that, they're good. And when they're not doing that, they're bad. And they haven't been able to do it for a full 60 minutes pretty much all year. So coming off a win like that, my hope is that they'll be confident. Look, Carolina is a great team. Does Pacioretty play tonight? I think he's still listed a day-to-day, but he could play tonight.
I don't know. He's close. I'll tell you that.
He's very close.
Really close. Yeah. Pretty much your last time, guys, to go and grab Max Pacioretty in your fantasy hockey leagues if you want. I mean, when this guy is playing, we have people here that have hung out with us for 2-3 years on the show, even longer, over at The Athletic and 4 Stack Lines. Pacioretty, I mean, he's one of our favorites. He's a volume shooter. He's a proven goal scorer. When he's in the lineup, we're going to be talking about him from a shot prop standpoint and anytime goal standpoint, playing with these studs. Yeah, every night we really will be talking about him. So I'm not seeing any news as of right now. You're right. He is listed as day-to-day. He was activated off the non-roster list yesterday. So he may not make his debut tonight, but it sounds like he is going to play very, very soon. Maybe it's against your Blue Jackets, Troy, as Carolina's got a couple games coming up against the Blue Jackets. Yeah, it's really tough to, their big winning streak was snapped the other night in New York against the Rangers 5-3. Kochikov returning made his, he had missed a little bit of time, and he was shaky in that game, and he looked like a rook for the first time all year. He looked like a rook. A couple of soft goals went between his legs, but it's, for me personally, it's hard to bet against Carolina. I'll throw to you in a second to get your goal scores. I don't think I sold Teuvo Teravainen enough to get an assist the other night against the Rangers. He was like plus 200 for an apple, and he got one. Now he's plus 168 for an assist, and he's minus 110 for a point. I think that's one of my favorite bets on the slate for him to pick up a point tonight, playing in the top 6 and on that top power play against your Preds. But I know you got some goal scorers, so take it away.
Yeah, for Carolina, the usual suspects. I'm going to go Svechnikov and Necas. And on the Pred side, I'm going to go Forsberg. And I'm going to go back to UC Parson. And he's playing important minutes for them, playing on the top power play, which shows that the coach understands what this player has to offer and is putting him in a position to succeed. He's been all around the net, all around the puck, and hasn't gotten one to go in the last couple of games. But I think tonight could be a night that he does it. Another reason I like him to bet on him is he's plus 330. Look, he's playing on the top 6 and playing on the top power play. Yes, the Predators power play, not very good, but they've been better the last couple weeks, and that's big. The biggest reason for that is they shuffle things around. Putting Parson in on the top power play, tall guy, big body, reach, good at protecting the puck. He's young, tons of energy. He's pressuring guys all over the place. Love this guy. He's going to be a good player, really, really good player, I believe, for the Preds for a while. But yeah, that's a pretty good bet at 330 for him to score tonight.
Love it. I'm going to go with Aho because I just think Tebow's going to get a point. Maybe it's the assist and Aho gets the goal. But, the two guys that we have talked a lot about when we mentioned the Hurricanes are Martin Necas, who's got goals in 2 straight and 3 over his last 4. He's been shooting quite a bit. And then Andrei Svechnikov is another guy as well, 2 goals in his last 5. And he has at least 5 shots in 3 of his past 4 games. So I do like Svechnikov, even though he was stuck on 2 in the last game. He's playing a lot of ice time, at least 19 in 2 straight games. and I just maybe put him into a parlay. But I think we can move on from this game. I do like the Hurricanes to win the game. Leaving in the house, go Sharks, always with the Go Sharks comment, and I absolutely love it. I really do. Okay, let's get going. Let's continue to keep things here. We'll talk about Troy's Columbus Blue Jackets at home in a tough spot, plus 175 against the Washington Capitals. I put in the bet tracker last night, the Caps. I like the Caps to win in 60, and I'm a little bit on the fence with the puck line. It's not my favorite. I have a couple puck line plays that I like, but Washington to win by 2 tonight at plus 135 is very, very interesting to me. Troy knows it. I mean, we're not going to be too hard on his Blue Jackets. They're suffering a lot of injuries. You know, they're rebuilding, and they're certainly going to be in the Connor Bedard sweepstakes. There's no question. And if you're a fan of the Blue Jackets, you have to be pretty impressed with some of the prospects you've seen here in the World Juniors. But I am going to lean with Washington to win this one in 60. I know Gustafsson didn't get a point the other night. I like him to get a point. This is the Blue Jackets team that allows a lot of opportunities, a lot of chances. And I don't know. There's not a lot of people that are hotter than Alex Ovechkin. Maybe Tage Thompson. But the other night, it was super fun to watch those guys, right? We talked about the overhitting in that game. We talked about Tage Thompson in that line. Thompson had a hat trick. Ovechkin had 2 goals. There's a lot of firepower. And I just think Ovi is, man, he's just getting like 6 or 7 shot attempts a night. So it's really tough not to take him to score a goal. And I understand that the odds are not great.
Yeah, I mean, the odds aren't great, but I mean, he scores. He scores a ton. Yeah, DraftKings has got a negative 110. I'm betting on him to score, and I like Mantha to get a goal here tonight. He's playing some power play time. Look. Like, I mean, Ovi's going to play the entire time on the left side down in the circle, the shooter position. Sometimes he plays the whole power play, but Mantha's playing on power play too on the point. And I think that's interesting. That's where Washington has him labeled, and he's playing on the second line. So, yeah, I like him to score here at plus 250. On the other side, DraftKings doesn't have Laine up, or I would have probably picked him. But I do have a gut feeling. They were talking earlier in the chat about Gus Nyquist. Bet on him, and I like him to score here too. Playing on the top power play and playing on the wing on that second line, and Kent Johnson at 295, almost positive 300 for a guy that is centering the top line and playing on the power play. So yeah, I like that too. He's looked really good.
He has looked really good, and he was close the other night just scoring. I mean, when you're playing with Gaudreau and Laine, you're going to get some opportunities. I'm seeing Laine at FanDuel plus 172 to score. He's plus 320 for 4 shots, but I won't go there. One thing I've been doing with Ovechkin lately, because of those odds, like those odds are not great, and I feel like he will. Like, I feel like he's a good chance to score a goal almost every single night. He's minus 110. Even at FanDuel, he's minus 110. Is the 2-point night for Ovechkin. And it has been hitting. I just want to double check here to see. So his last couple of games, like, oh my goodness, this guy, right? It's crazy. He's on a 3-game goal streak tonight with 6 goals, but his last game, 2 goals, so 2 points. The game before that, 3 goals, so 3 points. December 23rd, he had 2 goals and 3 points. The game before that, December 22nd, he had 2 points. He had a 4-point night mid-December against the Blackhawks. He's plus 158 for another 2-point night tonight. And just the way that this guy is shooting 7-5, 6, 7-6, like the shots are tremendous. Double-digit shot attempts every single night for this guy over the past couple of weeks. He's at 4.5 shots. I know it's a lot, but man, it's really hard to ignore, especially when you look at the Blue Jackets are inside the top 5 in shot attempts allowed, shots on goal, scoring chances at 5 and 5 per 60, according to Natural Stat Trick. So he's going to get his opportunities. You mentioned how he lives on the power play, which is the case as well. So I think Ovechkin for an assist at plus 112, if you wanted to go that way. I lean more so to the 2-point night at plus 158 for Ovi. And I love the Gustav and Nyquist call. 1.5 shots, minus 130, and for him to find the back of the net. Caps on the puck line, Caps in 60. And then the Rangers on the puck line. Last night got him at plus 130 over at DraftKings. I am seeing plus 120 as they visit the Bell Center to take on the Montreal Canadiens. And if you are feeling like the Habs are going to win, you can get them at plus 180 on home ice. Montreal will win a game here, eventually, and I'm sure it'll come on this home trip. But you know how I feel about this squad lately. A lot of rookies, very undisciplined. They lead the NHL in penalties taken, and a lot of them are just like bonehead penalties. The penalty kill is not great. A lot of rookie defensemen on their blue line. A lot of just forwards like Duran and Hoffman that are just not great in their own end, and they're living in their own end. And also, you know how I feel about a team after a long road trip returning back home. I don't really like it ever. So it seems like a trap because I've been taking teams against the Habs on the puck line for like 3 weeks, and I've never got these kind of odds. And I understand that they're at home, and maybe Halak starts, but find a little revenge game for Halak. But I'm with the Rangers. I'm not going to overthink this one. I think they win by a couple tonight, and I think we can call some goals here on the New York side of things.
Yeah, I got Zibanejad plus 100. Love this guy. Love watching him play. Love his hair. Love everything about him. Stupid Ottawa. And Panarin is at plus 205. Panarin's a top 10 player in the NHL. Like, I understand that he's a pass guy.
Nobody talks about him. Nobody's talking about him.
It's nuts. Yeah. He's so good. It's crazy. It's crazy how good he is. I love watching him play. Just so creative with the puck and just so slick. And he's a hard worker, but he's like one of those skaters and one of those players that doesn't look like he's working hard. And I think that's kind of maybe part of it. Maybe casual fans or fans that haven't played or uneducated to the finer points. He just looks kind of lackadaisical. Like, does that make sense? Yeah. He's one of those players where it's kind of effortless. So it doesn't seem like he's working hard, but he is. And he's always in the right place. He's always making the right plays. Anyways, plus 205 to score. I love him to score tonight. Caulfield, if someone's going to score, it's going to be him, plus 170. I like that. And Kirby Dach is starting to get more ice time again and starting to play better hockey, in my opinion. When I watch Montreal, he's really stuck out for me, and he's at plus 320 to score. So I like those two to score on the Montreal side.
Nice. I put Adam Fox on the board because he's just been so good. Like Adam Fox, maybe for like a power play point or an assist tonight, I think is certainly in play. You nailed it with the guys that I kind of like. I mean, I like Zibanejad. I think he scores tonight. He's got goals in 3 straight games. And Panarin, I think the reason people don't really talk about him is because he doesn't score every single night. But when you look, I mean, this guy is racking up points. He's got 33 assists, and he's been shooting quite a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of his last 9 games. He's had at least 3 shots on goal, So he is shooting a lot. He's minus 137 over at BetRivers for 3 shots. Starting to get a little bit juiced and out of hand, but I still like it quite a bit. It's the power play. I mean, the Rangers are probably going to get 3 or 4 power plays tonight. And, you could take some power play points. You got the shooters on the power play. Panarin's always going to have the puck on his stick on that power play. And they're going to be looking at Mika Zibanejad, Kreider maybe in front of the net. I think like Capo Kakko or maybe Kravtsov are guys that maybe you can take a long shot goal scorer. But I like Mika. I like Kreider, and I like Adam Fox to get a power play point, but I'm going to go with Panarin and Mika shots and Cole Caulfield as well. You mentioned it. Caulfield's got 3 goals in his last 2 games. He's been clearing 2.5 consistently. Maybe put him into a parlay and away you go. Daily Handle in the house. Let's go. Good morning means an EY. Good morning, Daily Handle. You are watching Dangle Betselli here on Game Plus Network. We are going to keep things going. Rangers on the puck line. Rangers in 60. Rangers win the hockey game. All right. Connor Bedard. Philadelphia and Arizona in here next. Both teams also in the Connor Bedard sweepstakes. Philly at minus 145, ladies and gentlemen, against diehard MMA podcast. Arizona Coyotes checking in at plus 135. I think we kind of joked that the Panthers shouldn't have been massive favorites against Arizona. I thought they played good again. Arizona, I watched that game, and I think they've been playing really good hockey over the past 5 or 6 games.
Yep.
I'm not going to bet this game. I'm not taking the Flyers at minus 145. I'm not really interested in taking the Coyotes. I like Konechny. He's been shooting. He's been scoring. Scott Lawton is a guy that's been hitting the score sheet quite a bit lately. He was plus money for a point the other night against the Ducks, who were brutal. And then Clayton Keller. I mean, Clayton Keller seems to be getting 3 or 4 shots every single night.
Maybe Keller might be, for real, the most underrated player in the NHL.
He's one of
right?
them for sure.
He's a point a game player. The offense for this team flows through him. He's been really solid and just played on just absolutely terrible teams for almost his entire career. The GM in Arizona is probably pulling his hair out because they're playing well. And probably the biggest reason is Vejmelka in net. And I can't remember what number he wears. I know it's a weird one. But the first time he played, I'm pretty sure he started a game on the road in Nashville. And I was there live. And I was like, who the F is this? And he's wearing like 41, and like I was like, he's so shitty he can't even get a real goalie number. But I'm pretty sure Arizona won that night, so there I go for saying that. And he looked really good, and I'm sure the GM wants to pull him, and is kind of secretly praying for him to get hurt, because the better he plays, the farther and farther they're getting away from getting Connor Bedard.
Right.
Look, I like the Arizona Coyotes. I like a bunch of the players. I pray to God that Connor Bedard does not go there.
Diehard's like, come on. I mean,
I understand that.
I saw the video on Spit and Chicklets the other day, and it was from like Ray Whitney was talking about it. He was basically saying how the draft was going to be rigged. He was saying the Chicago Blackhawks are not going to get it because of everything that's happened in the organization over the last little bit. The NHL would not let them have it. And that Gary Bettman has been trying to save the Arizona Coyotes in a potential new arena. And, he's their baby. He won't let them go. And Bedard would go there. Listen, he could save their franchise. He's a good enough player to save their franchise and maybe get some excitement in the area. This is not any shots at you, Diehard MMA podcast. We understand how diehard of a Coyotes fan you are, and we know that there are a lot of Coyotes fans out there. Maybe he goes there and he saves them. Maybe he goes to Anaheim and he sparks the Ducks. This is not a team that sells out every night. Maybe him and Trevor Zegras are together, and that's exciting as well. Maybe he's a Blue Jacket. Maybe he's. I mean, the biggest spotlight for him would be in Montreal. Let's be honest. If he was on original 6 squad, I mean, that's the biggest one. But anyways, Shane Gostisbehere, I like the call. I know why you're saying it. A little bit of a revenge spot here for Shane Gostisbehere, ghost in Philly against his former squad. Yeah, he's plus 166 for an apple. He's plus 106 for a point, which I can get behind a little bit more. He's plus 460 to score a goal tonight. I mean, it's always fun to do these revenge narrative things. He does have 9 goals in the season. He plays a lot, 24 minutes in his last game, 28 minutes the other night against the Kings. I would maybe consider the shot prop. He had 7 shots the other night against the Lightning and nothing the other night against Florida, but this is a much better spot for him. Plus 135 for 3 shots for Shane Gostisbehere if you wanted to go that way. Clayton Keller's plus 120 for 3 shots. He had 4 shots in his last game. This is a really good opportunity for him. If you look at the past few games, he hasn't been shooting, but look at the matchups. Tampa, Toronto, Colorado, the Kings. Before that, he had gone 4 straight games with at least 3 shots in easier matchups, the Islanders, the Habs, the Sabres. So this is one tonight where I feel like he can find the back of the net. Jacob Chikrin in there as well as another guy who could maybe find the back of the net if you're looking for some log odds. Did you mention anything on the Flyers? Was there anything you liked on the Flyers? Maybe I was.
I Konechny is playing the best hockey of his life. It's so cool to see a guy that was highly thought of, huge pedigree, and just kind of like floundered for Philadelphia for the last few years. He's really found his confidence and is playing the best hockey of his career, which is cool to see. And JVR is playing really good hockey. Obviously Tortorella loves him. He's got him playing on the top line, playing power play time. Keller and Krause again for Arizona. So that's who I've got to score tonight.
There's something about Scott Lawton. I don't know what it is, but I play in a fantasy hockey league with hits and face-off wins. And over the last month, this guy's a top 30 fantasy hockey player.
Yeah.
Like, he really is. He does a lot for you, right? In those weird categories. I'm looking right now, last 14 days, this guy's the 19th ranked fantasy hockey player. 19th.
Just like we drew it up.
Like how? But if you look at the back of his card, like
it's all the categories.
2 straight. He's got points in 4 straight. He's hit the score sheet in 7 of his last 8 games. He's got 5 goals over that span, 2 power play points. He's winning like double-digit faceoffs. He's throwing his body around. He's blocking shots. He's got 4 shorthanded points, and he's shooting the puck. So, wow, like he is touching every single category you can imagine, like shorthanded points, block shots, faceoffs, everything.
I don't think people pay enough attention. Fantasy hockey is so different than fantasy football because of all the categories and your ability to pick up points by categories of players that don't score offensive points. Offensive points are important, but winning, your hits category or your blocks category is just as important as winning your assist category or your goals category. Right? It's just as important. It counts for the same amount. And someone like Scott Lund, look, last year you'd have to really look, at his stats, but I would imagine his ice time, if it hasn't doubled, it's gone up significantly. And if he's doing all these things, getting those kind of points when he's playing 10, 12, 14 minutes, and now he's playing, 16, 17, 19, whatever minutes, those numbers are going to increase. He's a player that does everything. And in a fantasy league, season-long fantasy league, where you count hits and count blocks and count faceoffs, he's a gold mine. He's doing everything. So, you got to really pay attention to all the categories that you're playing.
Yeah, absolutely. You really do. I'm just starting to catch up on the chat. There was some Arizona hate, so we got some stuff. Diehard say, we are few, but we are strong. We are few, but we are strong. Bedard and Troy is already imagining Bedard between Line and Goudreau, which is really nice. Columbus does have some better forwards up front, but man, Troy, I mean, Montreal has had the most exciting prospects in this tournament. I saw something from Elite Prospects talk about they broke it down, and I think I retweeted. I could share it a little bit later, just breaking down all the prospects for all the teams. By the way, the Leafs 0 prospects in this tournament. Of course, they're winning now. They've been trading their picks, but the Habs had 5 that graded out more than most. The Devils, the Blue Jackets, those are teams that have a lot as well. So, if Bedard went there, he would be surrounded by some skilled forwards for sure, in a couple of years. And I agree with you on Fantelli. He might go second, third overall, a big winger that's going to be able to drive the net. So even if you don't get, obviously everyone's going to want Bedard and you can't get him, it's going to be disappointing, but you're still going to, if you're top 3, top 4 pick, you're still going to get a really nice player in the NHL draft. Anyway, Scott Laughton, plus 280 to score a goal, maybe a little bit of a long shot. He's even money to pick up a point. I don't know. He's doing things, guys, and he's in a really good opportunity tonight. He has a good opportunity against Arizona. The Devils are in the second half of a back-to-back at home, minus 180. The Blues are in town, plus 165. New Jersey won last night, something we did get in our bet tracker. We had Jack Hughes for over 3.5 shots. He's averaging 6 shots per game on the road. Now he's back at home, and we had him for a 2-point night, which he had as well. Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, these guys chipped in. Jordan Binnington has just not been good, man. That's it. You saw him firsthand against the Leafs the other night. Ilya Samsonov had one of his worst nights, and he still had a better night than Jordan Binnington from a save percentage standpoint. What did you see from the Blues that you liked? Was it just, a matchup against Toronto and the team rallied because they're pretty shorthanded again this evening? Like no Ryan O'Reilly and Tarasenko and Krug for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, when you're down like 3 of your best 9 players, like good luck winning games in the NHL. Like it's just as simple as that. St. Louis, to me, as I've been watching them, it feels very reminiscent of Nashville, where they don't have superstar, superstar players that are just going to come down and fire the puck in the net and get goals and pile up points. It's got to be a complete team effort, and they've got to be skating and forechecking and pressuring, and they've been inconsistent. And more importantly for them, worse for them than the Predators, the goaltending has just been all over the map. You just don't know. The Predators, I think on paper, are probably not as good a team as St. Louis. But what makes the difference is usually Saros has been solid. I mean, he had a couple weeks at the start of the year where it was up and down, but basically from, I would say, probably middle of October on, he's been super consistent and saved their bacon on more than one occasion. So St. Louis is just a team you just can't trust. Especially to win. I mean, they're still going to score and still going to get points. Jordan Kyrou is playing really good hockey again. And I think the fact that there's no Tarasenko and no O'Reilly, guys like Robert Thomas and Kyrou are going to be asked to really step up. So I like him to score at 205, and a master classing in GM and coaching GM calls out Shen, calls out Sod, says, look, these are veteran guys. And that game, what happens? They both score. And sometimes, I think probably veteran players get used to playing in the NHL and it becomes not special and autopilot can become a thing that happens. And I think that's human nature. I mean, they played so many games, and how do you get up for a game in New Jersey, game 30 in New Jersey in the middle of the season, and your team's not good? But that's masterclass coaching and GMing from those two. And I like Shen to score tonight. He looked really good against Toronto, was all over the place, all over the puck, and playing the way St. Louis needs to. He's at plus 300. New Jersey side, Hughes, he's a magician. He's awesome. Yeah. And Tatar is playing on the second line and playing on the top power play and playing with some unbelievable players. So I like him to score at plus 260.
Yeah, we were on the Devils stack last night. It worked out for us. I mean, we had Nico Hischier, who had a goal and assist. He's got goals in 4 straight games. He had Jack Hughes, had a 2-point night. Tatar in there as well. Jesper Bratt for the assist. So I like that second line in DFS. Even the first line, right, with Mercer, Hischier, and Bratt is interesting. But Hughes has just been on such a tear. He's plus 136 for 2 points. We got him at plus 176 last night for 2 points, which I think was just as good of a spot last night against Detroit as it is tonight against the Blues, but they're at home here this evening. So I still like him to have 4 shots. Just he's just on this heater right now. I think he's got points in 16 of his last 18 games. I think only 6 of them have been multi-point games, but he's definitely in play for a goal, or if you wanted to take the 2 points with him, a Jesper Bratt assist maybe, just because how hot Nico is. But I really like the Braden Shen call from you. It's been a couple games where I've really noticed him. Against the Blackhawks, he had 11 shots on goal in that game.
Jeez.
And against your Leafs, he played 22-49, which I do believe was a season high for him. He had 4 shots and he had 8 hits. So he was very, very active in that game. And maybe something just about Toronto. He played Toronto December 27th and he had 6 hits. So in 2 games against the Leafs, 14 body checks, which is a lot for a forward. Yeah. Anyways, he's 1.5 shots at minus 114 over at Bet Rivers for Braden Shen. I know the Devils don't give up a lot, but man, if you're going to play 22 minutes and the run that he's on, 1 game with 11, 1 game with 4, going to get some power play time, going to kill some penalties. I like him tonight, have 2 shots. I think the Devils win. I'm not totally into betting it just on the second half of the back-to-back. I'm not super intrigued. We'll keep moving along here. We are rolling through your Leafs, Maple Leafs at home minus 205, and then Seattle at plus 185. Again, something about the Leafs, I just feel like they play down to their opponents, and it's nothing against the Blues. They have a lot of great players, even missing some guys, and sometimes you see that. We've seen it before with the Leafs. You see it a lot, actually, across sports. When a team is shorthanded, they rally together and have their best efforts. We've seen that with the Leafs when Morgan Riley and all the defensemen were out. The Leafs were playing really good, and then St. Louis comes to town. The Blues are massive underdogs, and they find a way to win that hockey game. The Kraken are hanging around with a lot of teams this year. I think that they're alive as a dog tonight. I think they're going to hang around in this game, and it's tough for me to lay this kind of juice with Toronto. They're always minus 200. So it's either you take the other side of it or you call some goal scorers. And you've been all over William Nylander. And I feel like on this show, we've been all over Michael Bunting. Since we were hard on Michael Bunting about 6 weeks ago, this guy has been basically automatic.
He's been great.
Yeah, goal and assist the other night. He was plus, I think, 280 to score. He was plus 115 to have an assist. He was plus 130 to have 3 shots. And he did all of that the other night. And I like him again this evening.
Yeah, I mean, great call by you. Because of that, I put him in my DFS lineups and did very, very well. I mean, he won my matchup probably almost single-handedly, right? Like, I mean, I had a couple players that they got some points, but they weren't good. But because I had Michael Bunting, I ended up cashing, which is always nice. I don't, bet a bunch, a couple dollars here and there, but it's just fun to have some other players in the mix. For me, Matthews and Marner, both to score tonight. And on the St. Louis or the Seattle side, McCann, 225. He's been maybe their most consistent offensive player for them. And I also like Burakovsky. They moved him back up to the top line with Beniers and playing on the power play. He's plus 235. I think the Leafs win this. I think they win it handedly. And I think Seattle they're a scrappy team. They got some interesting players. They've got Yanni Gourde is a player that we love. I love Yanni Gourde for a bunch of reasons. A bunch of good players, a bunch of young good players. But the reality is just Grubauer and Jones as your tandem is just not going to cut it. And they need to do something in net badly.
Yeah, it's not good enough. Maybe Burakovsky get Beniers going again because he was a little quiet, but then then he went going. Edward Collins in the house. Buddy, you were all over it. I mean, the two bets that I put in the bet tracker last night, Rangers on the puck line and Capitals in regulation. You don't need to watch this show for picks. You're well on your way. You know what you're doing over there. Hopefully it works out for you, though. Rangers on the puck line plus 130 and the Caps in regulation. Absolutely against Columbus. We like that one. Since you called a Matthews goal, and I know you've been on William Nylander, maybe it's just an assist night for Michael Bunting. He's plus 160 for an apple. He's minus 140 for a point. He's just been hot fire, guys. Okay, we'll continue to get going here. I think we're going to get through it. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 more games to talk about. The Oilers minus 155. I know there's no chance. Minus 155 over at DraftKings for Edmonton, and the Islanders are in town at plus 136. The Oilers, man, this is just a team that should be much better. Like, how do you have a generational player in Connor McDavid and another one really in Leon Draisaitl, and this team just fights every single night, fighting for a wild card berth, which is what they're going to do all year long. We can sit here and we can say that it's the goaltending. Oh, it's the goaltending. You know, and I get it. It is. They haven't had a good goaltender since I don't even know, man. Dwayne Rollison, when they made the 06 run, was great, but he was near the end of his career. Like, I don't know. Have they had a better one since Billy Ranford or like, I don't know, man. Like Grant Fuhr. This is a team that hasn't been able to find goaltending for quite some time, but they give up high quality chances every single night too. So unless they have Vasilevsky or top goalie, I don't know that the team's ever going to make a serious run, man.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that a team with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and Zach Hyman and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Jesse Puljujarvi. I mean, he's not good, but he was drafted first, for first round.
Yeah, third overall. I think.
You got, I know Evander Kane hasn't played, but they may not make the playoffs. They're out of the playoffs right now, right? Like,
if they miss the playoffs, like something significant has to happen, and it won't be McDavid, but it could be Draisaitl. It could.
Something's got to happen, right? I mean, something's got to happen. I mean, my opinion is they should have traded Draisaitl or Ryan Nugent-Hopkins a year or two ago. I think Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' value a couple years ago wasn't enough because of the player that he is and where they drafted him, but it's high now. And that's 3 of the top 20 centers in the league. You need better players on the back end. Darnell Nurse is your best defenseman and is insanely overpaid.
That's a bad contract.
Bad. Darnell Nurse is a good player. I wish he played for the Predators or for the Maple Leafs. But the reality is he's because he's the best defenseman on your team doesn't mean he needs to be paid like the best defenseman on other teams. And that's what they did. Right, it's just clasping at straws. Goaltending's brutal. Jack Campbell's in his head every night. Stuart Skinner is not the answer. They're going to miss the playoffs, and I'm ready to watch the fire burn. It's going to be.
I think if they miss the playoffs, we're going to see something dramatic, something crazy. It's just like the Leafs. If the Leafs get bounced first round this year, something has to happen, and it has 100%. To be more than your head coach getting fired or your GM getting fired. It just has to be something more. But I would say if the Oilers miss the playoffs, you're going to really see something significant happen. I mean, the head coach would be axed, that's for sure. But yeah, I don't know, man. Tonight, Diehard MMA podcast said Anders Lee is rolling, and he is rolling.
He's been good.
He's minus 106 for 3 shots tonight. He's got a couple goals in his last 4 games, 3 of them, in fact. He's got 14 on the season. So he's the guy that I always look to, him and Brock Nelson. I think both of these guys on the line tonight will pick up a couple points. Anders Lee is minus 126 for a point tonight. It's kind of where I'm at. And I feel like you're shaking your head. You probably got Lee or Nelson on that list of yours.
I got Nelson at 160 and Barzal at 260. And then on the Edmonton side, McDavid, of course, he scores every night. Mm-hmm. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins at 195.
Playing really good.
Playing with top power play, playing important minutes. There's no reason to not have him.
And I sound like a broken record, but for whatever reason, we are getting plus money again on a Zach Hyman assist. So, McDavid,
Sign
like you
me
said,
up.
scores every night, and Zach Hyman has his butt right in front of the net on the power play, and he just touches everything. Diehard or Daily Handle. Yeah, who else would potentially be traded from the Oilers? We do have to get going here in a minute or two, but we'll wrap up here with this on Game Plus Network. I think that's it. What Eric said. I think, it's maybe Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He's proven that he is a really good player, and I think you said it perfectly. There were some question marks about him. It's been like this for a long time. I lived in Edmonton a few years ago. In Calgary, I was close to the area. And, when they had Taylor Hall and they had Eberle and they had Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, they had all these top picks and they couldn't really find a way to get it, to figure it out. And then they were wondering if there's any trade value with these guys. And then they just got rid of Eberle. Taylor Hall was gone. And then all of a sudden you won a Hart Trophy. Like, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is a really good player. He's got a friendly contract. Any team would pick him, would be happy to have him, and he'd be a number 2 on most teams, and some teams he'd be a number 1 center. So I feel like
I think he'd be a number 1 on most teams. I believe that.
So too. Yeah.
He just plays with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. He's not going to play center on the top 2 lines.
Exactly, right? And he's got flexibility to play on the wing, and they've done that with him, and they're doing that with him tonight with Leon Draisaitl on the second line. So I would say that's where I would start if I was Edmonton. I wouldn't want to trade Draisaitl, but his contract is amazing. You know that you can get 3 or 4 solid pieces for him and maybe have a more balanced team. They're playing just random dudes on the wing that are just underachieving. So I would start there, and then maybe I'd visit Draisaitl. But other than that, like, you're not getting anything for Darnell Nurse unless you eat a little bit of that contract. They just don't have Evan Bouchard, but I would hang on to him. He's a young defenseman. I think is, promising. So Oilers are in a tough spot. Very tough spot. And we'll see if they can make the playoffs and they can turn it around. One more here. We got about a minute and a half left on Game Plus Network. Vancouver and Colorado. Canucks plus 136. Another team, right? Just like trade everybody. Just trade everybody and potentially, get in the Connor Bedard sweepstakes. The Avs minus 150, and there was a question earlier, I think, from Troy, how are the Avs, minus 150? It's because the Canucks are brutal. That's why the Avs are favored, even shorthanded as they are. The Vancouver Canucks are just a tire fire at the moment. They've lost 3 straight games. There's controversy in their dressing room. I'm hearing it every night. They're not getting any good goaltending at all. Spencer Martin has not been good. They're allowing 4 or 5 goals basically every single night they touch the ice. But the one positive that we keep saying on this show is Bo Horvat. We keep talking about Bo Horvat. He's up to 28 goals on the season. He scored 31 last year. He's certainly going to pass his career. 28 goals, Eric, in 37 games. He's got a 25% shooting rate. His career mark is 14%, but I don't care, man. This guy is scoring. You've talked about it so many times, fighting for a new contract, and he's going to get paid.
He's going to get paid
tonight.
He's definitely going to get paid. Not only is he having his best statistical year, he's also a bona fide and heralded leader, right? Like, guys like him do not grow on trees, that are good in the dressing room. He was a young captain and is a very good captain from all reports, from anyone that's played with him and been through Vancouver. For some reason, DraftKings has got him at plus 190, and we're all going to celebrate by cashing on him to score tonight. Patterson to score. On the other side, McKinnon at 135 and JT Compher at 250. He's centering the top power play still for Colorado and playing with really good players. I think he's an okay player, but when he plays with those kind of guys and you're giving me odds like plus 250, sign me up.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have much to add. I do like Bo goal with you as well. I'd probably stay away from some of the shots from the Vancouver side. Maybe Elias Pettersson. We talked about JT Miller the other night, and he did get those shots at plus money. But I like McKinnon for 5 shots, and I like Arturi Lehkonen to score tonight for the Colorado Avalanche as well. We're going to say goodbye to Game Plus Network. We appreciate you. I'm sorry, man. It's my bad. We want to talk a little bit of Canada, U.S. off the top. Wanted to get in all EY's goal scorers for you on Game Plus Network, but I understand that this show is pretty much airing the same time as that gold medal game. So you can
if we didn't have other things to do, we would be here for hours.
We would be here for hours breaking down all of these games like a true psychos. True psychos. We got to say goodbye, though. Hop on over to FTN Network YouTube page to see the rest of the show and some of our goal scorers and shot props. Good luck tonight on the ice. We'll be back on Tuesday. Cheers. Okay. final game. Actually, I think maybe 2 more. Yeah,
Two
Pittsburgh and Vegas. So the Golden Knights -120 at home. Jack Eichel was activated yesterday off the IR, and then all of a sudden I saw like a little day-to-day next to his name that if there was no setback tonight, that he would make his debut, or not his debut, his return to the ice. And I think all signs point to him playing here tonight for the Golden Knights. But I'll kick it over to you. What you like over there?
Yeah, for Pittsburgh, Vegas. I mean, it's getting interesting, right? With Eichel coming back, with Vegas they're way better than I thought they were going to be. Is the truth, and I think the biggest reason is Logan Thompson in net. For Vegas, I got Stevenson. He's at plus 240, which look, he's centering the top line and centering the top power play. And Jack Eichel is likely to return tonight, and Stevenson's going to play with him on the power play. Yes, please. And I got Eichel as well to score. On the Pittsburgh side, Gensel at plus 140, and Raquel. Man, Raquel's always been a good player, but there's been a lot of nights where he's been the most consistent and the best player for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's been really, really good. He's playing in the top 6 and on the top power play at plus 220. Yes, please.
This Amadio guy, I mean, he's a guy that's kind of lived in the AHL for a couple of years. Like what he's doing is pretty unsustainable, but we have to bring it up. I mean, he's got.
Yeah, I've got him on like 3 of my fantasy teams, so I
got him a couple on me. I got him in a couple too, where I just like, I'll stream him. He's playing on the top line, and I'm just
still there.
I've just been keeping him. So I mean, he enters tonight on a 7-game point streak. He's got 5 goals over that span. 5 of those goals have come over his last 6 games. I feel like, and actually kind of know this just from the practice that I saw, like the reports that I saw yesterday, he's going to stay on that top line for now. He's going to play with Stone and Taylor Stevenson, and it looks like they're going to have Eichel on that second line with Riley Smith. Yep. I think over time we will see Michael drop down and regress, and Eichel go back up to that top line. But as of right now, he is getting an opportunity. They're still shorthanded. No Jonathan Marchessault, so they got William Karlsson on the third line. So an opportunity maybe to ride this out with him. He's plus 350 for a goal. He was plus 400 the other night for a goal, and I told the subs, I'm like, I don't know, man. This guy is hot fire. I don't think he can keep it up, but he's 4-1 to score a goal if he wanted to go that way, and he did score a goal again. Troy says Vegas confuses him, can never predict them correctly. Yeah, I think, recently it's been a little uneasy because of just all the pieces that they're missing on their squad, but I really like their team quite a bit. I think they're well coached, better coached this year than I just wasn't a fan of DeBoer. I was a fan of Gerard Gallant, but not a huge fan of DeBoer as a coach, but I am a big fan of Bruce Cassidy as a head coach. They're missing some key guys. So Theodore Alex Martinez in the back end, Jonathan Marchessault, but I'm going to lean with the Pens on the road as like road dogs tonight to win that hockey game. I thought they played pretty good. We'll see if Chris Letang returns. I know he didn't play in the Winter Classic because I believe his wife was giving birth. Actually, no. So I apologize. It was his father passed away. So thoughts and prayers to Letang and the family. And we'll see if he returns tonight. But the Pens are plus 106 on the road. I think pretty interesting. Boston and LA tonight. I like the Bruins. I'm not going to overthink this one. Minus 152. I know they're a different team on the road, and they've been perfect at home. No regulation losses at home this season. And the Kings actually beat them, I think, in a shootout at TD Garden a couple weeks ago. But we have the perfection line back together. Jake DeBrusk didn't make the trip to out west.
That's heartbreaking, Cali, man.
Which is crazy because he played in that game. I know he left in the Winter Classic. He left. It looked like he hurt his arm. He came back. He ended up scoring the game-winning goal. I think he had a couple goals. So maybe they're just being a little cautious with Jake DeBrusk.
I read somewhere it could be a broken tibia, like broken leg. So
holy crap. And he managed to finish that game? What a freak. That's crazy.
It's the smaller bone. I don't know if I told this story, but I'll tell it real quick for the YouTube folks. Got a physical for for my job. And the doctor said, have you hurt your leg? I was like, yeah, I tore my ACL, like a year and a half ago. He goes, no, your left leg. It's like, no. And he goes, yeah, you don't remember it being sore or being banged up? I mean, it's nothing that I can remember. He said, well, you've surely broken it in the last 2 years. So apparently I broke my leg and didn't know. Still squatting and wrestling and
If
playing
that's not the
hockey.
definition of a true psycho, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what is. Wow.
No idea. I had no idea. It's the smaller bone and it's not super weight bearing. And it does happen in impact sports where you can break it and not really know. It can feel like a pretty deep bone bruise. And that's probably what I thought it was, and just kind of kept working and working out and whatever. But apparently it was definitely broken, and I didn't know. So
wow. Well, I'm catching up here now too. Yeah, he was placed on long-term IR, so he's going to be out at least 4 weeks, and he's dealing with a hand injury as well as a lower body injury. Anyways, he stuck it out and played through that game, and he ended up scoring 2 goals and a big one for the Bruins to win that game. So Pasternak up on that top line, and I believe that would mean Taylor Hall would get back up in the top 6, right? This is the luxury that the Bruins have. Taylor Hall is the former Hart winner, been playing on the third line in the second power play. That's how deep the Bruins are. I think they'll be fine. Jake DeBrusk has been really, really good this season. But I like that perfection line. When they're back together, things just seem to happen.
Yeah. And Pasta's at plus 110. Like him playing on any line, if they're giving me plus odds, I'm betting on him to score. And the fact that the perfection line is going to be back together and you're still giving me plus odds for Pasternak to score, I got him. Hall at 275. Obviously, with DeBrusk out, Hall's going to have more responsibility playing the right side on that top power play. Love that. Fiala at 215. I understand he's playing on the third line, but he's still playing on the top power play and shoots the puck like crazy. He's a crazy talented offensive player. And Andrew Kempe at 205 shoots the puck like crazy. A show favorite before me and you, and he's playing on the top line and playing on the top power play, and he's plus 205. So that's the 4.
We almost got the Byfield goal the other night. He picked up an assist.
Yeah,
right? He played pretty good. He was playing pretty good. Still getting an opportunity there with the big boys. Yeah, you like Pasta. I like that one as well. Bergeron's been shooting quite a bit. I've had him in the past couple of games over 3.5. I still think he'll shoot even with Pasta on his team, who's more of a shoot first guy mentality. DeBrusk is kind of the same way as well, but the fact that Pass is going to be up there, I feel like that line's going to contribute. They're going to score some points. You're going to get Bergeron at plus 162 for an assist tonight, minus 140 for a point. And Marchand is minus 128 for a point, and he has been shooting a little bit more recently as well. I think that line's probably going to rack up about 15 shot attempts. So you're going to get a decent price with Marchand at minus 134. But I was reading the points wrong. I was like, that doesn't make sense. Marchand is minus 128 for an assist. I don't love that one, but I like the Bergeron plus 162 for an assist, maybe for a point. Marchand shots. I'm with you on Pasta. I think Pasta finds the back of the net, and Kempe's been shooting quite a bit as well. He's turned the corner. Kempe went through a little bit of a slump, bit of a slide there in halfway through November into December, midway through December. I thought he picked it back up again. He's been hitting for us as well. So I like the Bruins tonight to win the game. Adam says slept wrong on his back last night and thought his back was broken. He's the opposite of you, EY. Daily Handle says, good to hear. It wasn't serious.
It was serious. I just didn't know that it was serious. I had a broken leg.
It was serious, but you were unaware of how serious it actually was. Okay.
I wrestled a 25-minute match with the walking weapon in Nashville, and I had a broken leg apparently. So there it is.
I'm going to recap here with some picks, and I'll throw to you for some goals. So I like the Rangers in the puck line. I like the Rangers in 60. I like the Capitals in the puck line. I like the Capitals in 60. But my two bets would probably be from those games. My money would be on the Rangers to win on the puck line at plus 120, I think is now available. And then maybe just take the Capitals to win in 60. I like the Hurricanes. I think I'm going to go with the Islanders at plus 136. As long as Sorokin's in the net, I'm going to take that as an upset. I like the Avs and I like the Bruins. And I think for totals, I think we'll see the over hit between Vancouver and Colorado. Vancouver just gives up so much, and they have these guys. Like we keep talking about Bo and we keep talking about Pettersson. They can contribute 2 or 3 goals themselves, but they can't keep the puck out of their net. So I'm going to take the over in that game, and I'm going to take the over in the Washington and Columbus game. I'm going to lean with the over. And I like the under between the Hurricanes and the Preds. So 2 good goalies there at 6. I don't think we'll see a lot of offense between Nashville and Carolina tonight, but take it away. Let's hear some goal scorers.
All right. Svechnikov, Niches, Forsberg, Pearson, Matthews, Marner, McCann, Burakovsky, Ovi, Mantha, Nyquist, Johnson, Zibanejad, Panarin, Caulfield, Doc, Konechny, JVR, Keller, Krause, Hughes, Tatar, Kyrou, Shen, McDavid, RNH, Nelson, Barzell, Gensel, Raquel, Stevenson, Eichel, McKinnon, Comfort, Pedersen, Horvat, Pasta, Hall, Fiala, Kempe. The EY 8-way parlay, I was one off on Tuesday.
Oh
to
my
break
goodness.
I was sweating it so bad. DeBrincat screwed us. But my 8-way is Ovi, Konechny, Matthews, Zibanejad, McDavid, McKinnon, Pasta, and Hughes.
Man, that's close. I saw somebody tweet that you're one off. Take it as a combo, guys. Combo it. You get one or two wrong, you still earn yourself a little bit of a profit there. I like Brad Marchand to score, even though we're talking about Pasternak. Brad Marchand, if Eichel plays, Eichel is scoring. Nathan McKinnon, Anders Lee, Leon Draisaitl. I'm with you on Austin Matthews. I like Travis Konechny, and I like Clayton Keller. I like Jack Hughes tonight. I like Mika Zibanejad and Chris Kreider. And I like Alex Ovechkin, and I like Sebastian Aho. We're going to get out of here on this. Points for TiVo, 2 point for Ovi. Scott Lawton. Oh, yeah, Scott Lawton. Take him for maybe a long shot, maybe 0.25 for him for a goal tonight. But I like him for a point. Bunting point, Lee point, Bergeron point, Bergeron assist, Hyman assist, Bunting assist, Ovechkin assist, Teuvo Teravainen assist. Those are all plus money plays. Shots, Svechnikov, Ovechkin, Nyquist, Caulfield, Panarin, Mika Zibanejad, Keller, Konechny, Hughes, Braden Shen, 1.5, Anders Lee, McKinnon, Hyman, Kempe, Bergeron. We are out of here. Enjoy the pucks. Good luck on the ice. Great show. We appreciate you, Edward Collins. Let's cash these picks. Have a great weekend. We'll be back on Tuesday. Cheers.